Oh, I wasn't exactly expecting this. What's up guys, it's Mark from Enthusiast Productions here bringing you a video review of Gundam Build Divers Episode 1 and Episode 2. So yeah, originally I was about to record this video like just about less than an hour ago, ready to talk about my thoughts on Episode 1 of Gundam Build Fighters. And I was searching through my YouTube feed and saw that Episode 2 had come out. So I took a little extra time, watched it twice so far. I wanted to see it a third time, but I think I pretty much get the gist of Episode 2. Episode 3 I had to watch about three times just to kind of get a better opinion on it. First time I watched it, I thought it was really cool, but the second time I was like, okay, this is just a first episode. You know, it follows every first episode beat so far that we've seen in pretty much all of Gundam. You have your introduction to and I'm just kind of diving right into this, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended. But I'm just kind of diving right into this. Episode 1 was really just your standard following every beat first episode type of thing. You get introduced to the world, you get introduced to your main characters. In this case, it's Riku Mikami and his friend Yuki. I forget his last name, but you get introduced to your two main characters, possibly, you know, your third, you know, female character. You always have to have your trinity, if you will. So we find out that our main character is a soccer player, or is athletic enough to play soccer but doesn't want to play soccer. He'd rather play video games. Not what we want to promote out there, but yeah, that's our main character. Although he is super qualified to play soccer, he's apparently really athletic, really fast, with, you know, really fast reflexes. He's the Reiji type, I guess. Except Reiji was more controlling instincts and reaction, and this guy is actually physically reactive and really athletic. And I'm glad that is, because it's gonna bring me to a point of why I like the main character and his gunpla and his choice of gunpla, and I'm gonna get to that in a bit. So yeah, of course you get a little bit of exposition, you learn about the world, you learn about more characters. I think my favorite character so far is the shop owner, or the chick that works at the shop. Now, I don't think she's a shop owner, but she works at the shop. She's kind of just clueless to the hobby. She's just there to work, she's just there to sell things, and hopefully I think she's, or at least I hope she's a college student, because you never know with anime. Let me just put it that way. Alright, I like her already. So yeah, some magic happens. Our main character gets followed or trailed into picking the Gundam 00, which we already knew that he was going to pick that, just, you know, based on the marketing of this show and the gunpla. You know, he takes it home. We learn that he's not a noob at it. He's got like a display case with some gunpla, so he's definitely not a noob at the hobby. And of course, with the magic of anime, overnight he creates his own gunpla. Because his friend Yuki says that it's better that way. He gets to make it his own if he customizes it, different paints, you know, swap parts and things like that. Then of course we get introduced to the 00 diver. So I guess, of course, in Build Fighters fashion, the chick who works at the shop, Nanami, I think was her name. I've watched this like 3 or 4 times and I still forget her name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Nanami. She has a portal to the GBN in the shop. So they get introduced to the world there, a little bit of exposition again. You get to meet a little bit more characters. We meet Maggie, the purple-haired chick or dude, and this is where I'm like, yo, this guy avatar could really be a girl in real life, but who knows, because I just watched Ready Player One, and it's that, you know, you don't know if this character is really a girl in real life or is a guy, but it's a very interesting character, and I can't wait to see how that folds out or unfolds in future episodes. And of course, he's your like tutorial person. He's got the tutorial voice, for as colorful as he is. You know, I like this character too, to be honest. And then we get to meet Doji, who is portrayed as a bad guy, but we all know he's probably gonna join forces with the main characters sometime down the line against like a bigger force. So we get introduced to Doji, but before that we get introduced to the white-haired chick. She has a name, but since I just watched episode 2, I'm trying not to do this spoilery. You know, it's just a name. So her name is Sarah, apparently, but you don't know that until episode 2. But the way she says it is kind of like, is that even my name? Like, she just gets the name and she accepts it, kind of thing. But anyway, we get introduced to Sarah, our white-haired chick of this season, of this series. And then we get introduced to Doji, who does the same thing. He does an SOS call, his stomach. He's playing around and his stomach hurts, and then he basically lures our main characters into a trap so that he can fight them and take experience points. He's a funny character. I like his choice of Gunpla, though. It's a high grade Zetas. But I want to talk more about the Gunpla in a bit, because I don't want to spend too much time on episode 1, because episode 2 I just watched it. I want to talk about that too. But anyway, we get this fight. Again, it follows the same beats as every Gundam show, especially Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, where you have your antagonist of the episode, the first battle, and you get to see just what our main character could potentially be like. And I'm going to go back to my point earlier where I made that statement about the main character being athletic and super fast and very responsive and you know, high reflexes, because I feel like that translates super well using the 00, and I'm expecting Riku could, I guess, control or pilot his 00 diver so that I could do pretty much what he could do in real life, like slide tackles, aerial flips. But you got to see that when he piloted and fought against the Zetas. He did this nice little like duck and roll and twist dodge move, and I thought that was pretty cool. Stuff like that really gets me hyped when I see Gundam battles like this. So I'm glad our main character is the way he is, because that'll translate to what I like to see personally. And he's also piloting one of my favorite designs while doing that. So I'm like, I'm on board with this series, simply for that reason, out of others. So anyway, the fight goes, friend gets taken out, Yuki gets taken out, he's disabled, but for some odd reason his legs don't disappear like the GN sword does after it gets blasted. Of course, Riku comes out on top. You get to see a little bit about you know, how he moves and how he controls his Gunpla, and it's very impressive, and that's pretty much the end of the episode there. The girl disappears, of course. And then you get your ending song, which is like which was odd. I didn't like the fact that there were no translations or there were no subtitles for the opening and the close, and oddly enough, it's still not there in the second episode. So first episode, thought it was okay, didn't get me hyped for anything. A lot of people have a problem with the intro music. I don't. I feel like it's chill. I feel like we were just really spoiled with the kind of hype that that Back On and the other band that did the one opening to Gundam Build Fighters Try. But I understand, though, even though I said we were spoiled, I understand that even when we got a band that wasn't Back On, their song was still pretty hyped. The song Just Fly Away, their song was still pretty hyped. It got you hyped, and honestly, I still listen to that song when I'm at the gym. I listen to a lot of these Gundam Build Fighters openings while I'm at the gym, because it just gets me that hyped. It gets my blood pumping, gets my heart racing. This one, not so much. I do like the kind of jazzy guitar sound that they use, the riff that they use in the background. So I mean, I could get behind the song, just not in the same way that I can get behind all the Back On and the Just Fly Away. But anyway, moving on to episode 2. So episode 2, I wasn't really expecting too much out of this. For some reason, it did follow the exact same beats as I thought it might follow, more exposition. You got to learn more about some of the rules, some of the different worlds that they have thrown into this whole GBN, the Gundam Build Nexus. I keep wanting to say network, but it's the Nexus. You get to learn more about some of the different modes that you could play. So it's interesting in that sense. All this exposition, you get, you know, pretty scenes, you get the chill, like exploring kind of piano upbeat music playing in the background. There's a screenshot moment where they take a picture of the three of them together in this nice, pretty, like flower open field thing. And then they see Doji. But Doji's not alone. He's with his brother, Hellfire Ogre, and I really like this guy. I got kind of Meijin Kawaguchi vibes from him. Just his fierce attitude. Just that. I'm not gonna compare him to Meijin Kawaguchi by a stretch. He's not like him. I'm just getting that vibe. It's just his ferocity, his fierceness. is what I like about him. He's the way he's designed, the way he looks, and his gunpla of choice, which I really love. I really want to get that high grade once it comes out. So of course, Hellfire Ogre, he thinks that Riku and his two allies are the two who called him out to that field to do battle, but apparently it's just these random squad of 3, and of course they're piloting 3 DOMs. Riku gets involved. He jumps in the 00 diver. He steps in because I think a piece of debris, oh, an arm, a loose arm that was cut off by Ogre gets thrown at Sarah and Sarah and Yuki. 00 diver comes out of nowhere, slices that arm away, and suddenly he's considered an ally to Hellfire Ogre. So now it's 2v3, and I'm sorry I can't really name the 3 who attacked because they really weren't named, so I'm just gonna go with Random 2 and then Squad Leader. So Random number 2 attacks Riku because he thinks he's Ogre's ally. And then you have a Squad Leader who just has a major bone to pick with Hellfire Ogre for whatever reason. So they get into this battle. You definitely get to see how Hellfire Ogre fights. He's very ferocious, like I said. And then suddenly some crazy magic happens with the control system of Squad Leader. I guess he goes like into some crazy possessed mode, which kind of reminds me of the Dark Hado aura a little bit from Street Fighter, if you guys pay attention to Street Fighter. Everyone goes crazy. Our force sensitive chick starts to feel sick, and then one of the coolest scenes, or one of the coolest parts of this sequence to me, happens. I was trying to keep this spoiler free. I want you guys to see it anyway. I don't think what I'm saying is much of a spoiler. It is more or less a spoiler because I still want you guys to watch the episode. I still want you guys to enjoy this scene the way I did. But basically, right after Dark Hado Dom gets possessed, he decides to shoot at Riku, and then Random number 2, I think, anyway, one of the randoms decides to shoot Riku as well, so it would have been like a double shot. What ends up happening is Riku reacts so quickly without the use of Trans Am, and that's something I actually did not mention. They brought up using Trans Am in this episode. He tries it out, of course, but then it doesn't work. Our force sensitive chick feels the suffering of the Gundam, so she tells Riku not to use Trans Am anymore. Back to the scene. Riku does this thing where he takes the GN drives and kind of turns them, I think he turns one backwards and then he turns another one forwards. So he does this crazy like dodge twist, and I got so hyped when I saw that. I was like, I love this shit. I lost my shit. I seriously lost my shit when I saw that scene, because that is the kind of thing I'm expecting out of Riku and the 00 together. This two together, Riku and the 00 diver. That for me is gonna be like the saving grace of the main character and this series. So I just want to see more acrobatic shit. And needless to say, he dodges it. I think Random number 2 gets blasted, taken out. I think at this point Random number 1 is already taken out too. So now it's just Dark Hado Dom, possessed Dom against Hellfire Ogre and 00 Diver. Of course they take him out. Then doesn't even give Riku time to take a break, but Hellfire starts attacking Riku, of course, because he gets fired up. He sees Riku's reactions, he sees Riku's movements, and he's like, give me that energy, give me that strength you have, let me feed off of it. So he's provoking Riku to start moving the way he moves, and just to fight him, just for, you know, because strength. And since this episode is about Trans Am, of course, Hellfire Ogre, or the Ogre Jinx, activates his form of Trans Am. This Ogre Jinx is actually pretty cool because he did something. That's how Random number 1 is taken out. He apparently has an arm that shoots out with a cord, so he did a little scorpion spear get over here thing, and this is pretty cool. This thing was pretty cool. So he grabbed him, dragged him towards him, and then he has these kind of age 1 Titus shoulder pad thing going on, where he had beam spikes, and then he planted one of the Doms after he grabbed him with that extending arm and took him out just like that. So that was pretty cool. Spoilery, sorry, but I mean, if you guys watch it, you know, it's still pretty cool to see. So I'm hoping when the kit comes out for Ogre Jinx, they include a little cord thing, because that was pretty cool. And hopefully he gets beam spikes too. So I mean, it's gonna be a nice kit. Hopefully they include at least those two things. You're gonna get the swords for sure. I hope you get the extending arm with at least one cord, and then some beam effects for the shoulders. That would be the perfect kit. But anyway, the two get into a fight, and this is where Riku breaks his promise to not use Transam. He of course uses Transam, but then again, as we all know, if you decide to use Transam without the O-Riser to stabilize it, you're gonna fail. So of course, he fails. He gets into the fight. He does some pretty impressive moves. Again, I lost my shit because he did a backflip dodge, and then he caught himself in the air, flipped around, and landed. He did the little superhero landing. I don't even think he landed. I think he just dodged backwards, did a flip, and then just thrusted towards Hellfire and started fighting him again. But then if you watch this scene, particularly if you just watch the animation, I wish it was a little bit more fluid, but you can see Riku's really trying his hardest to keep up with Ogre in Transam mode. The way he fights, the way he twists and turns to do attacks. I lost my shit when I saw this fight because Ogre was going crazy, and then you had our newbie hero trying to go crazy, trying to keep up. But you can see, just like, man, if this guy would just level up and get his shit together, this 00 diver would be one badass Gundam. So of course, in Gundam 00 fashion, when Setsuna goes up against Mr. Bushido for the first time in his 00 Gundam, not the 00 Riser, but the 00 Gundam, the GN drives go out, just like the way that they did in that episode of Gundam 00. Hellfire almost wants to just take him out, and then of course, he gets saved by Sarah. Hellfire decides to turn off his Transam. He decides to stand down, and that is pretty much the end of the episode, except for a couple of things where we go back to GBN, the 00 diver's getting repaired. Riku decides he wants to get stronger. He's not going to use Transam again this time until he gets stronger. And then a couple little extra scenes here and there, but that's pretty much the end of the episode. But what I'm excited for is the next episode. Caught the preview, didn't catch it the first time. I was so excited. Then the second time I caught the preview, and I think this is where all the promising stuff starts to kick in, is during this episode. I think the champion is going to show up, and then there were 2 appearances of mobile suits, of designs that I think we're all going to be excited about to see on screen again. So I'm looking forward to the 3rd episode. I guess they come out every Tuesday morning, so I'll have to remember that before I decide to review the next, or record the next review. But yeah, what did I think of this episode? If it wasn't for such a long expositional episode, which again I expected, we got more action, I'd like it a little bit more, but I definitely like this episode a little bit more than the first episode, so it's gradually getting there. I don't expect to like the first few episodes the same way that I felt with Gundam Build Fighters Try. As I was watching Build Fighters Try, I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, got potential. And then I grew to like it afterwards, but it just didn't have that same kind of charm that Gundam Build Fighters had. I don't expect this show to have the same kind of effect on me, especially because I feel like this show came out a little too soon after Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, so it's going to be hard for this show to kind of impress us the way that Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try did. But I'm hoping that the show does pick up after the first few episodes, because I feel like this show has a lot of good potential. We have to also remember that this is a kids show trying to advertise Gunpla. We gotta remember that. So if this show doesn't stack up to Gundam Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, I can't expect it to do any more than be good, gradually good. I don't want it to drop, and I kind of want it to be better than Build Fighters Try, but I don't think it'll be as good as Build Fighters. I'm pretty sure of that. But anyway, what did you guys think of the first 2 episodes? I have a lot of editing to do here. This is quite a lengthy video. I did talk about 2 episodes because I was only planning on doing episode 1, and then episode 2 came out, and I was like, oh crap, I just waited too long. I don't have a lot of time between by the time I wake up and what time I gotta get to work, and because I live a lot farther to work than I do now, and in the commute I have to sometimes leave an hour up to an hour and a half before I get to work because I don't want to be late. But yeah, those are my thoughts, my review for the first 2 episodes. I'm not gonna do this like do 2 episodes in one video every time. I'm gonna do per episode. I just didn't want to like make one video for episode 1 and then one video for episode 2. It just literally came out. So, you know, this is something I've been wanting to do with you guys for a long time. Now that I have the means to do it, I can. So I'm going to start with the double O divers. I'm going to start with Gundam build divers. I wanted to do this during Iron-Blooded Orphans. I wanted to do this during the battle log episodes and all that stuff, the OVAs, but again, I didn't have the means to do it. But now that I have the time and the space, because that's really all I'm about is time and space, I can. So here I am. So every week there's going to be a review of these episodes, and I'm not going to count it as a like actual review, but what I want to do basically with my videos is review episode or episode review of the show, a vlog, which will just be a weekly thing. I don't want to do like I did before, where I did a vlog one day, a vlog another day, a vlog another day, and I had like 3 vlogs in one week. I'm just gonna compile them into one longer video, and you know and I'll also start doing recording things as I see them. I've already done that. I have some clips that I need to compile together because a couple weeks back when I watched Pacific Rim Uprising, I did manage to find Guardian Bravo, and I did manage to find Obsidian Fury. The way I found Obsidian Fury was perfect, but I have that recorded. I just haven't got it compiled together. But that's what I want to do with the vlogs, is just whatever I do within the week. And it's only about 2 days because I'm back to a regular work schedule. So it's like 2 days worth of vlogging putting into one video. So one vlog, one review of these episodes, and then one actual review or unboxing or something of a product. Or an item. You know, I say it that way because it's not just Gunpla, of course, that I talk about, but figures and other stuff. So that's it, you guys. I got a lot of editing to do in this video. Hopefully it's not too long. If it is that long, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a timestamp in the description box so you guys know when I end, or when I start talking about episode 2 and talking about episode 1, and that way you guys don't have to go through this whole video listening to me rant about or ramble on about the episode and just stop talking. But no, in all seriousness, you guys, comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell button so you guys can be notified of when I upload another video. I'm really trying to follow a schedule here, so hopefully you guys will be okay with that. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!